Coach, there wasn't real high expectations for this defense when you guys got here. Did you take that as a personal challenge to get the most out of these guys?
I think as coaches, that's what you always want to do. You want to get the most out of your players, and you want to push them to greater heights. I don't know that we didn't have the expectations. I mean, obviously when you come in, everybody's competitive that's in this business. And we all come in and thinking that we're going to be good, and we're going to compete, and we're going to strain, and we're going to try to go out and play at a championship level. And that's the thing that we asked these young men to buy in and believe when we got here, that, if they would, play as one, if we could get 11 guys playing with one heartbeat, that we felt that we could be pretty good, that if we just put our heads down and just focus one day at a time, one practice at a time, one game at a time, and just see where it took us to.
Rodney, you've coached a lot of years. You've coached at a number of SEC schools. And I wonder, Tim Banks has been nominated for the Broyles Award. Just talk a little bit about him and the job you feel like he's done.
I think Coach Banks has done a remarkable job. He's a great leader. He's very. I think he's very smart. He's flexible. Obviously he tries to cater, what we're doing to what our talent level is and what we're capable of doing. And he's open to suggestions. I think he's a really good leader. The kids believe in him. The staff believes in him, and he's a great guy to work with, just like this entire staff. I think that's the one thing that Coach Hype's done. He's put together a group of remarkable men that right now get along well and they work well together. Good chemistry.
Coach, I would imagine communication is key for a head coach. How would you assess how Coach Hypel is as a communicator?
I think Coach Hype does an outstanding job of communicating to us his expectations, the expectations of this program, what our goals are, long-term, short-term, what it is he expects from us individually, collectively. I think he's a really good leader. Obviously he's very competitive. I think that shows every day that we come into this building. He wants to win. It's 1-0 every day. I mean, that's how he approaches it, and that's how he's trying to program these young men to think. And I think he's done a remarkable job, and I look forward to where he's going to take the program going forward.
Rodney, Amar Thomas said the one thing that you ask for from your guys is when they get older to send you pictures of their kids, and they want them to be, great husbands. How much of an impact, or your experience, does really showing that you're invested in them as human beings impact them as football players?
Well, I just try to pour into these young men like, I remember my coaches poured into me, when I played, being a poor kid from, small town Alabama. I think the kids, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And, obviously with my coaching style, being as demanding, as I try to be with them, they've got to know that I care about them more than just on the field. And it's a deeper commitment. For them to allow me to push them and try to strain them to get the good stuff out of them. So it is personal, and to me it's not a 4-year relationship. It's a lifetime relationship. And and I just think back to the young men that I recruited when I was at Auburn the first time, and relationships that I had with them, and the guys that I had here previously. I got a chance to see Peyton and Trey Teague last week. And, just those, that's what it's all about, and then, Charles Grant came up for the game this week, brought his son, Jonathan Sullivan was here, so it's just good to hopefully impact those guys' lives where they feel like I played some type of role in their success, and that they want to still have a relationship with me, beyond this.
Coach, what has Matt Butler meant to your group, and what's it been like to kind of coach him over the past however many months it's been?
Matt's a unique individual. Obviously, he's very, very intellectual, very smart. He's probably the smartest guy I've ever coached by far. But he's a great young man. He's a man of character. He works really hard. I've really enjoyed, watching Matt. I feel like improve his game and play at a higher level, and I think he's having some relative success and doing some really good things. And he comes to work every day. He wants to be good. He wants to be pushed. He's tough. He can take it with the best of them, and he responds. So the whole room really is just it's an enjoyable room. I've really enjoyed watching these guys grow, and I've enjoyed watching them compete. And like I told them the other day, obviously I'm disappointed that we hadn't had the success that we all wanted. But still, just to go out there and watch them game in and game out, how they go out there and compete. They play hard. I mean, it's when I sit there and I watch the film on Saturday nights after the game, whenever we get in, I'm amazed at how hard they're playing. My thing is, we've just got to learn to play smarter. But they're straining for one another, they're competing for one another. So that we have made progress there. Now we just got to get the component of playing smarter.
Yeah, Coach, when you looked at this team and you looked at your group in August, you didn't have a lot of numbers. How did you put a plan together to manage a small group, and get them better, but not completely wear them out as you head into these last 2 weeks? Did you manage that different than you would a typical group you might have?
No, we're always trying to, to find, I've always said, my goal was to always have 10 guys, that could play, at a competitive level on Saturday. That's, to me, that's ideal. Obviously I'd like to have 12, but if we got 10 guys, I feel like, at least we can rotate them and we can stay relatively fresh. Because the biggest thing that I try to stress to them, I want to play the fourth quarter like we played the first quarter, and I want to see us run into the ball, and I want to see guys straining and guys leaving everything they got on the field. I don't want them bringing anything back into the locker room. So for big guys, obviously you got to keep them fresh, and we got to rotate them. And we've been blessed. We've had some bumps and bruises, and we've had guys that are, nicked up. But, for the most part, they found a way to fight through it. And the one thing about it, I think my guys see that, hey, if you practice hard, if you earn it in practice, you're going to get an opportunity to play. If you don't, then you won't. So, it's a merit deal where they've got to go out every day and they've got to earn it and they got to get it done.
Rodney, two things. When you look at the tackles for loss, the last 2 games, not as many as you had in the first 8. Is that a direct relationship to the competition you're playing?
Well, obviously we've played some really good competition here lately. But, like I said, we could do, when you sit there and you look at the film, there's things that we can do better. Now, obviously, we played 2 really good teams, and those teams were the better teams on those on this past Saturday anyway. They were the better team, but, we still did some things that was probably a little bit uncharacteristic of some things that we have done in the past, and we maybe we missed the line. We didn't check certain things that we knew to check that we'd done. But, like I said, when you look at it, hindsight's 20/20, but that's the thing that I tried to tell them, we're not good enough football team where we can go out there and aid anyone in the opportunity to beat us. We have to play at our best every single game, and we have to execute at a high level. And, we compete at a high level, but our execution sometimes is not where it needs to be. So if we're paying attention to the finer details, then I think those things will happen. We didn't have the TFLs that we needed to have this past game, and the opportunities were there. Sometimes it was just guy missed a line. Sometimes it was a guy just didn't run the assignment. So there's just technical things, and obviously we've got to coach it better too. So it's not on them. The only mistake that they can make in the game is not playing hard. Any other mistake, that belongs to us. And so as a coach, I have to own that, and we've got to teach it better. We've got to make sure that we're executing it better.
Secondly, you mentioned the other day that there were 103 gradable snaps against Kentucky. And I know all your players didn't play all the snaps, but is it hard to recuperate in a week if you've played that many snaps in a game?
No, I think the way, Coach Hype has our practice scheduled, I think it's conducive to keeping our players fresh. The model that we go with, on Mondays, it's a stretch, get their blood pumping, move around, walk through. Then, really our tough 2 hard days of work is, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then, we tone it down a little bit on Thursday just to make sure we can go out there and execute assignments and get all our fits correct, and then come back in Friday and crank it back up a little bit more and move at a little crispier pace. But I think the way he has it structured is really good. And like I said, we played a lot of snaps in the Kentucky game, but we played very poorly on third down. All right, so that's as much on us as anything, because like I told them, on third down we got to be able to get off the field. I mean, we're in those opportunities. We get them in a third down situation. Now we got to be able to finish, and we got to get off the field and give our offense more opportunities to score points. Fortunately we have a really good offense, so we need to play better, and we need to get them the ball and let them do their thing.
And I know most quarterbacks these days tend to be pretty athletic, but on a weekly basis to see them sort of leak out of the pocket there on third down and scramble past the sticks, how do you fight that from being sort of demoralizing for your players for that same thing to keep happening? And is there anything that can be sort of coached up to correct that for now?
Yeah, we've got to do a better job of staying in our lanes. We've got to do a better job of condensing and restricting and keeping eyes on them and playing smarter. And, that's things that we've got to work at, and we've got to get better at it. There's some of them that, you look at, one play that comes into mind, last week that happened, it was purely athleticism. There was no way he was going to make that play. He was so much more athletic than us. So we've got to, there's a lot of things that we've got to do to get better, and that's what we're constantly working at it. And these guys, they're aware of it. Coaches, we're aware of it, and we just got to keep working and keep improving.
Last question, really quick there.
Yeah, like Matthew Butler, what has a guy like Jaquan Blakely meant for your group this year?
Blake's a great young man. He comes to work. He's I guess he's a poor man's guy. I think he's got an elbow, he's got an ankle, he's got a knee. He's got a little bit of everything that's going on right now. But he's a tough guy. He's from South Georgia. I think he loves football. He's just a blue-collar kind of guy. He just comes out there and comes to work every day, and I think he's getting the most, out of his skill set, that he has. I think he's probably maximizing it. I think, I've talked to him, give him a little bit of a hard time, possibly, that, hey, man, if you're about, 10 pounds lighter, you may be a step or two quicker. But, he's just, I think he's playing above, really, his skill set. And I've been proud of him, just the way that, he works, he takes coaching, he tries to go out there and he tries to apply it. And that's all that you can ask of any of them, is that they try to apply what you're trying to teach. And hopefully they'll see themselves have some success, and then they will buy into it more and believe in what you're doing.